Welcome into the Safeguard Podcast. I am outnumbered.
Matt, can we please change the subject?
At Safeguard, we want to be versatile. We want to help in every way that we can and not just in one certain area or one certain product. We want to be holistic planners for you. A good agent or advisor should provide you good information regardless of whether they sell you something.
It is so frustrating that people are penalized for making a mistake when the government doesn't do anything to educate them.
Honestly, shouldn't it just be about helping people? Listen to this. 33% of men and 43% of women have no life insurance at all. That doesn't even count the people that don't have enough.
Insurance has the power to change people's lives.
You have got to be sure that you educate yourself before you make major decisions. Honestly, I couldn't imagine not being at Safeguard at this point. Hey guys, welcome in to Outnumbered the Podcast. This is Matt McKay, your host, and I'm here with Stephanie.
Hi!
My wife, a beautiful co-host. And we're just coming to you. We wanted to do this podcast. This is the pilot episode, the first one. And we're just really excited to get it started. We just want to have a little bit of fun, do something different, try to help people out. That's the focus of what we do. And so we just figured, hey, why not do a podcast? But the podcast is called Outnumbered. And the reason for that is I am severely outnumbered in my life. Help me. But no, in all seriousness, our business, it's pretty interesting, actually, kind of rare in kind of a male-dominated world of insurance. I'm actually outnumbered by two women, her and her mom, Paula Cowan. So I'm actually outnumbered 2-1. Also, we have two daughters. I'm a girl dad. So, in a lot of ways, I'm outnumbered. And also, in another kind of different angle of why we called it Outnumbered would be because we want to back up what we have to say with numbers and figures and facts. We want to make sure that whatever we're saying is actually real and is backed up by something that is tangible. And so that was kind of what we wanted to kind of come at you with, and just really we want to be of assistance to whoever sees us, whether it's 3 people and 2 of them are family and one of us reviewing, or if it's 10 million people listening to the podcast eventually or whatever. So we just want to be available to help you out. Yeah. So that being said, who the heck are we? Stephanie, why don't you go first?
Well, like he said, my name is Stephanie McKay. I am his wife. So we met in high school. We were both in band together. I was in color guard and he was in marching band. He played tuba. And we did not date in high school. We were not high school sweethearts or anything like that. But we were friends, and our best friends were dating at the time. And so we spent a lot of time together. And we were pretty shy, I would say, in high school. We didn't talk to each other. We would sit next to each other in school bus and we wouldn't talk to each other. And all the kids around us would make fun of us, and it became like a unspoken thing that it was, a challenge almost to see if we could go the whole time without talking to each other.
Who could say the least?
Yeah, we'd be sitting next to each other for hours and barely speak. But we were friends, and after high school, we went our separate ways. I went on to Western Kentucky University. I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Graphic Design. And a minor in computer information systems. And I still use that degree just about every day here at Safeguard Insurance. I do, like this podcast, for instance, the editing and all of that, website design and graphic design and social media and blog posts and all of this YouTube videos and just all of this different stuff that we put together for content, for resources for people. I have a heavy hand in editing and distributing all those materials for people, and it makes my heart happy. I really, really enjoy it. And then I also got licensed to be an insurance agent in 2015. I joined the insurance industry in 2014, but I was not licensed for my first year. I worked in more of an administrative, customer service, or that type of role, administrative assistant sort of role. Became very, very interested and got licensed, and I've never looked back since being licensed. I really enjoy working with people and helping people and changing their lives and making hard decisions easy. And if not easy, at least informed decisions, because that's very, very important. So that was up until 2014 when we got into insurance, and then 2015 we got married. We had reconnected in 2014 prior to me getting into insurance to begin with. And then in 2018, our first little girl, Riley, came along. And then in 2019, at the end of the year, our second little girl, Haley, came along. So that's kind of my story up to this point. So what about you, Matt? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know everything. So
I do know a lot.
So we'll just move on.
Okay.
That's me.
Like she said, my name's Matt. I am originally from California. I was born in California. My dad was in the Army, but I only lived there for like a year, so I don't remember it. We moved back to, we're from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I don't know if we mentioned that. We're out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. So my family moved back to Bowling Green, Kentucky right after Dad got out of the Army when I was about a year old. And then I ended up living in Nashville for a while Mom went to medical school at Vanderbilt. And then eventually after kind of bouncing around the Nashville area some, we eventually made our way back to Bowling Green, where we went to Greenwood High School, and that's when I met Stephanie. So I was pretty much brand new to the area when, we came back, and so I was kind of the shy kid and whatever. So that's how we ended up kind of silently having an alliance on the band bus. But anyway, we like she said, we kind of went our separate ways, in high school and in terms of dating and all that, and both went to Western and really pretty much got out of touch for several years. I was in the band in high school and I worked for the football team in college, so I was the band nerd that wanted to be on the field. So I ended up helping the football team when I was an undergraduate at Western. Got my bachelor's in history and social studies, a double major. And then right at the end of college, I had a couple like filler classes, like when you're finishing school and you got to have something to do. Well, I ended up shadowing local insurance agent, actually my granddad, but anyway, shadowed him and, vaguely got interested in it, just didn't decide that it was really, for me, I'd never really had any desire to be in insurance, even though I have some family and stuff in it, but, it didn't feel like, for me at that point, it was interesting, but wasn't something that I ever really thought about. Well, as I got out of college, I was working at a grocery store and apartment complex, and just started thinking like, this is kind of you're in those dead end kind of jobs and you got to change directions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I've got insurance that I can do. Surely I can do better than what I'm doing right now. And I know that's not that glamorous getting into it, but I was at that point. Stephanie and I were kind of starting to flirt and first of all talk, and then kind of flirting and stuff like that, and then we ended up getting a job together, and that's how we got started in insurance. And the rest is history. From there, I had a few different positions. Stephanie was pretty consistent with her affiliations and everything. I did some work in some life insurance with Transamerica for 2.5 years. I also did a stint while coming back to where we were before for a year with Mass Mutual. And so anyway, we decided to branch out on our own and start, long story short, we decided to branch out our own and do Safeguard insurance in September of 2020. So we're
yeah.
right up on the first year
Yeah, September the 1st is our 1 year anniversary.
anniversary. Yeah, so we're just excited. There's a lot of things going on with our business, and we're just excited to bring you this podcast and just be here for you to be of assistance to someone. If we can make a difference to someone, that is the whole goal of the podcast. So, kind of talking about what we're going to do and a plan for going forward. We got a lot of ideas about things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be just one single topic every single week.
Just
you
droning on and on about the same things
Just one
over
thing
and
or
over.
that thing.
Yeah.
We want to be available to you in many areas. And it may not even be insurance that week, and not purely insurance. It's probably going to be something insurance related, or it'll have something that
Or finance
brings
related.
finance or whatever. But we may talk about, debt relief one week, or budgeting, or something like that. It's not necessarily something you can buy from us, but it's more just being of assistance to people to try to be practical to help people out. And of course, there are some other things we want to talk about as well.
Yeah, we had ran by some ideas getting ready for this podcast, and we were talking about an episode about like Dave Ramsey, like the good, the bad. He can be a very controversial figure, and so what does he say that we agree with, and what does he say that we don't agree with, and what have we seen from our clients who have followed his advice? Is it a practical or viable option? So that's one thing that we had talked about discussing, and just possibly having guests on from other industries that are similar to ours. That kind of crossover that would benefit our viewers, and that they might like to hear from other people. And if anybody out there would ever be interested in being a guest on the show, we would be open to interviewing people or taking questions or anything like that. And you can email us questions, and we would be happy to try to answer them if you have any. So we got different things. We want to take a boring subject, what a lot of people view as boring, and we want to make it fun. We don't want to just say the same exact things that other people have already said. We want to bring new original content and new thoughts and perspectives, and even if it's like, an experience that we've had with a client that maybe we can help somebody else avoid, or we've seen XYZ scenarios, and so how can we help you if you're in that scenario, because we've seen this before. And so we just want to take our expertise and be able to help the people out there. And this is not just for people turning 65 or close to retirement. We do a lot of Medicare in our business, but that's not all we do. This podcast can literally be for anybody of any age. We're going to talk about things that can benefit everybody. So don't just hear us mention Medicare ever and just be like, oh no, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not going to listen. I'm not their viewer. You are our viewer. We can help you. So just stick with us, and we'll have practical advice for every age range.
Yeah, well said. And Safeguard's motto is ensuring your life, health, and retirement. And within that is a lot of different areas. And so, and it covers a lot of different age ranges all at the same time when you talk about that general subject. And so, of course, we'll talk about some life insurance and health insurance, and specifically insurance for people that are under 65 versus over, and stuff like that. But we want to bring something every single week that offers you something practical no matter your age. And it's all interwoven. You probably, if you say, well, I don't need to know anything about Medicare. Well, what about your mom or your grandma that's possibly on Medicare already? Or I don't need to know about Obamacare because I've got group insurance. Well, what about other people you know? What if you lose your job? What if a few things change and you end up needing something like that? So
Exactly.
it's good to fill your head with good knowledge, and we're going to bring that every single week.
Yeah.
So
And
that's the goal.
like he was saying, we're not just going to talk about products we can sell you. We're going to talk about, legislation changes. If there's some big news going on in the media, we're going to, possibly be able to discuss it and break it down and explain what it means for the average person. Or we'll talk about different types of penalties that you can incur and different times when you can enroll in what different type of plans and all of these different things that people don't necessarily know. So it's not all just about, oh, you need to buy a life insurance policy and you need this type of policy and this, we're not like that. That's not the message that we're trying to bring. We're trying to explain what is life insurance? Why would you need it? Why would you, who can your beneficiaries be? We want to educate. That is our
That's right.
total purpose here, is to educate so that people can make informed, wise decisions.
Now here's the thing too is we're talking to a wide audience. We don't know your situation and who your family is and how big your family is and where you live and your debt position and all that. So we're just really going to focus on in general how we can help people, and then obviously if you want to reach out to us, we can talk to you on an individual basis. But we certainly don't look at a certain person and say, oh well, they're 30, they need term, they look like they need 250,000.
Yeah.
They've got a kid. Okay, add 100,000. That's not how it works.
Nobody fits into a box. Everybody's
have different-
situation is different.
We all have different preferences, different ways we look at the world, different incomes, different costs of living in the area, different budgets, different life goals. So everybody's different, and it's an individual case-by-case basis for us.
Yeah.
But we definitely want to bring both specific ideas and also general practical advice as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely we're excited about our next week
Yes.
subject. I think it's going to be good. We're going to talk about how to spot a bad agent or advisor.
Yeah.
Obviously there can be kind of a bad reputation for salesmen or the insurance man or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And first of all, there are people out there that care. There are plenty of really good agents out there.
Absolutely.
And, we've had the pleasure to come in contact with many of them.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we've also had the unfortunate circumstance of coming in contact with some that have questionable ethics. And so,
There's some slime balls too, guys. We'll help you pick them out.
Right. So we will help you next week. We're going to help you find some slime balls. Is that
That's
what we were going for there?
what we're going for.
We're going for slime balls next week.
We're gonna find them.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but we do want to help you identify. Okay, well, who would be a good person to consider, who may not be, and we definitely want to dive into that. Not that we want to just air out dirty laundry and I heard this one guy, but just in general, what are some good pointers to have an idea
Yeah.
of who may have your best interest and who may not. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. But this week, Stephanie kind of picked out the topic, and
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and kind of kick us off there?
Okay, so we are going to talk about some of the different type of scams that are available, that are going on right now. There are a lot of scams. There's a lot of like phishing where people try to, get information from you through say a fake email or something like that. But
That's PHIS.
PHISH, phishing. Yeah, not fishing like a fishing reel. But one of the things that's happening right now is scammers, hackers, whatever you want to call, spoofing phone numbers. What spoofing means is basically they're copying legitimate phone numbers. So when you get a phone call, it's coming from a legitimate source, it looks like. But they're basically copying that phone number over top of their phone number. So it's being reported to you as a legitimate phone number, but it's really not. And I was looking online, and the IRS even has reported in that their phone number has been spoofed numerous times and is being used to make outbound calls to people, and it looks like it's coming from a legitimate source, and they're basically saying, your account has, been, it's past due, or you owe us money, or all of this different stuff that they're claiming, and then saying, if you don't send us money, you're going to be arrested, and we're going to issue a arrest warrant for you, or you're going to have to pay all of this money back in time. Just like scare tactics to get you to send them money. So one thing about that is the IRS doesn't make outbound calls. No government agency at the federal level is going to be making outbound calls, okay? They send you letters in the mail, snail mail, just traditional mail, okay, guys? They're not the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It's called CMS. That is Medicare, okay? The IRS, Social Security Administration, they send out traditional mail. They don't make outbound calls at the federal level. So if somebody's calling you saying that they're with the IRS and you haven't paid your, tax bill, or they're with the Social Security Administration and your Social Security number has been compromised or something like that, those calls are not legitimate, okay?
Now, one thing I would say as kind of a caveat to saying absolutely everyone that ever calls, if you've been in contact with a local office or something
Yes.
like that, or you've already been in contact with someone from the IRS and you've verified that it's legitimate, you've called a legitimate federal number and then
Yes.
gotten a call back, something like that.
That is different than
That's
them
different
initiating the
than
call
just
to
somebody
you.
calling saying, "Hey, you've got until midnight, or grandma's going to get thrown in jail because of your tax evasion."
Yes.
Or that's a
Yes.
strange example, but I've gotten calls before saying, "Oh, you're." I'm sure you probably heard the car warranty thing.
Yes. We
Yeah,
got one of those today.
Yeah, we get a couple of those a day.
A couple, yeah,
So,
several.
at our own safeguard number, but
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff out there. So just we don't want you to live your life like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Where you're constantly afraid and you can't move without fear. But we also want you to be aware.
Be alert.
Think about these things. Pay attention. Ask questions. And one thing I always say is, when in doubt, don't give it out.
Yes.
If you're not sure and you're getting a little skittish, hang up.
Yes, it is perfectly fine to verify the people that you're talking to before you give them your information. And if they're unwilling for you to verify who they are, then that's a red flag that something is maybe not on the up and up, okay? It is okay to be alert and be vigilant and even be suspicious if you are uncertain. It's okay. It's your information, but like he said, when in doubt, don't give it out. So in that case, your bank account numbers, your credit card numbers, your Medicare ID number, your Social Security number, those are all examples of things you should not give out to unknown sources over the phone or even in person. Just because they come to your house and they're asking for the information doesn't necessarily mean that they're any more in the right place either. But there could be scenarios where people coming to see you or calling for you could need that. So if you are dealing with somebody, if you're working with somebody and you're expecting them to ask personal information, then that's different than just somebody calling you out of the blue saying, "Give me your bank account number," because somebody's using your bank account without your permission. That's not the same scenario, okay? So just do not give out your personal information unless you verify who you're talking to in advance, okay? And then, so another scam that I have to talk about is called like an internet questionnaire, a Facebook meme type thing, okay? So typically these are pretty harmless as far as the intention behind them. I don't feel like a lot of people create these just with the intention of doing bad things with them. However, when say you see a Facebook post and it's asking for, the name of your first grade teacher, the name of your best friend from elementary school,
Your high school mascot.
your high school mascot, the make and model of your first vehicle,
Your mother's maiden name.
yes, your first pet, where you were born. All of those are questions that if a website requires security questions, those are all possible questions that would be a security question. So there are people that can take that information and pull information about you from other sources and compile that. And you could be looking at identity theft. You could be looking at somebody creating, say, taking out credit cards in your name. They have security questions to set up accounts in your name, all of these different things. Or they have security questions to access your accounts that you already have in place. So while those seem harmless, they can lead to scams and they can lead to identity theft. So you need to be careful and be vigilant about that as well. One solution that you can have if you want to participate in those, but you're worried about it, is you can adjust your privacy settings on your social media, and you can set it where you're only able to show that to your friends. And in that case, you would want to make sure that the people on your Facebook are people you know and not strangers. But that would be a way to kind of avoid that. The only other way would be to just not participate. So,
Right. And we just want it to be practical.
We don't
Yeah.
want you to ever be afraid to mention your mom's name online. It's
Yes.
just if someone puts it all together, they possibly could use that information. And we don't want to just put out everything we ever know about our entire lives on the internet, because especially if you have zero privacy settings,
yes,
anyone in the entire world
can see it.
can get your information. So just be thoughtful, be vigilant. We can't live our lives in a bubble. Feel free to fill out a survey on Facebook, but just be thoughtful.
Yeah.
Let's not be too much, but let's also be extremely thoughtful about what we do and who we choose to interact with, what information we give out. For example, just to show you how much information is out there completely for free that I could find out about pretty much anyone in the United States. There's an app that I have on my phone. I can get on it and I can plug in first name and last initial, and I can find every person in every state that is not unregistered. I can get a lot of their information. I can get a phone number, address. I can even pay to have a credit report and not financial statements, but financial tendencies. I can see your background. I can do background checks. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. And a lot of it is completely free. And to a hacker, everything could be free. So you just want to be careful about and aware of what information is out there. Because it really is alarming if you go look at some of those websites, what you can find on your mom or your son or whoever, your niece or nephew or whatever. You can find a lot of information on a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So just be thoughtful of that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, anything else that we need to cover as far as scams?
I would just kind of reiterate, like we were mentioning, about don't give out the information. One of the things that a lot of scams focus around are wire transfers.
Okay.
If you ever get a phone call, an email, or a letter asking you to wire transfer money, that could kind of be a red flag that something is odd, because traditionally businesses aren't using wire transfer as a form of And there are cases that they could, but once again, it would, if you're doing business with somebody and you're expecting to pay them something or something of that manner, is different than just somebody contacting you out of nowhere,
Yeah.
telling you that
Like
you owe
I've-
them money.
I've gotten these emails, and fortunately they go to my junk mail, so it kind of gives me a warning at least.
Yeah.
But it says something like, "Hi, my name's Christina, and I've got a cousin in Afghanistan that needs help getting out, and I need you to wire some money because this $5 million can be partially yours if you'll help me get my cousin out," or something like that. And so you've got to wire money to Afghanistan, and or pick a country. I've seen Canada and whatever. But it usually has something to do with some kind of foreign country, or
Yeah.
and this is not to disparage people with disabilities or whatever, but I've seen emails and stuff that it says, my Mimi has cancer and had a double knee replacement and needs money, and we need you to wire transfer this amount of money to this offshore account so that we can take care of her medical needs and all this stuff. And those kind of stories will break your heart, but if somebody's sending you an email saying you need to wire transfer money that you don't know and you've never met them,
Yeah.
at least
That's
should be
an
some kind
alarm.
of red
That's
flag
an
or
alarm.
something that catches your attention.
Yeah.
And so those are definitely like wire transfers and people trying to get your social security number. Those are very obvious scams.
But
also,
a lot
I
of
would
people
say,
fall for them.
yes,
So that's,
it seems like it's obvious. So, however, I've had plenty of clients fall for it, some of them multiple times.
yes.
But also, some things to think about in terms of other scams and things like that would be deceptive language on pieces of mail. I know we hadn't talked about this specifically off the podcast, but in terms of misleading information on a piece of mail that makes you think that it's something else, and then you call in, and then you're in this big whirlwind of confusion and whatever. And so just when you're making decisions, especially that have to do with money or something really important, think about them before you just fire off and make a call somewhere, or you see something on TV and you just make a life-changing decision.
Yeah.
Consider your options, think through it, maybe do some research.
Maybe
you
work
know,
with a local person that you can go sit down with and talk to that person. Because a lot of
Verify.
times they can cut through
Yeah.
some of that.
maybe
that's-
verify the people that you're working, like we talked about, verify who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Before, and make sure that you know that's who you're dealing with, because they can say, "Oh yeah, this is X company," and if you just take it at face value, that's not enough information. You want to make sure that you're actually using valid information and
Absolutely.
doing good things for yourself. So, with our first episode, we just wanted to make sure that we cover one of the most major issues first, and that is people getting messed over, screwed over,
Taken advantage
of by other people. And we just wanted that to be our first episode because it's an extremely important subject.
Yes.
And so, we're really excited about just kind of moving forward. We're really excited about what's happening with our podcast.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to get to know y'all. If you want to contact us, our phone number is 270-904-6070 if you want to call us and talk to us about questions you may have. We have a website, www.safeguardky.com. By the way, just because it's KY doesn't mean that's the only the state we service. We can service you all over the country and answer any questions you have.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media. It's usually Safeguard KY or Safeguard KY Insurance or INS. We have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Just search
subscribe to us on the
Safeguard
podcast.
Insurance.
Just be sure you keep track of us and pay attention to us. If you want to give us a like, we'd much appreciate it. A review, whatever, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it.
doohickey on social media, whatever. But we're just really thrilled to have this, and please reach out and let us know what you think of it. But for now, we appreciate it,
Yes, thank you.
and we are signing off.
And be sure to tune in next week, just as a reminder, to learn about how to spot a bad insurance agent.
Yeah, that. Next week.
Next week, yes.
We're gonna love
Yeah. So
I'm
we
sorry.
will see you later,
That was,
friends.
that was what we call a false ending. This is the real one. God
All right.
bless y'all. Take care.
Bye.